I hate to bring in football, but he is a Hearts fan and I am a Hibs fan. And he was asked recently by a journalist, quietly, how things were in the party. Was the party united? He said, well, the party is united, but I've got a problem. I was talking to the MSP group at their night out a couple of months ago, and when I started speaking and talking about Hearts being top of the league, I was heckled from the back of the room by my own deputy leader. Now, I mentioned that to mention one other thing, which my team, Hibs, had a very famous forward line called the Famous Five. Now, I'll leave it there. I'll tell you why I'm introducing that later, although it also gives me the chance to say I asked for permission to go to the World Cup. That makes me a prefect and Stephen a very bad boy. But the reason I want to mention that is, first of all, to say, if I can, and if you can indulge me, to mention once again, and for the last time, the ball that we intend to hold on the 4th of April in memory of Christina McKelvey. So I'd like to take a wee moment just to thank the many, many people in this room who will join myself and family and friends of Christina at the celebration ball taking place in her honour next month. And for anyone who wants to come along and has not yet got a ticket, we've sold over 350 tickets. There are a few left. There will be a QR code appearing on the screen shortly, and I'd love to see as many of you there as possible. It's almost a year to the day since we lost Christina, and not a day goes past when I don't think about her, as many of us do, and wish she was still here. And right now in particular, just imagine how much joy she would be bringing to the campaign we are all working so hard on. I know how hard each and every person is working right now, not least my own team in Clackmannanshire and Dunblane. But that's one reason why the ball on the 4th of April will be a fantastic opportunity for us all to pause for a night, to remember Christina. It will be an upbeat night. We'll have the kind of night she would have absolutely loved, and it's not black tie. If you can wear pink, but at least if you sparkle and glitter, that will do fine. We have Susie McCabe, the comedian, Elaine C. Smith and Tom Ury, all making sure that it will be a cracking night, and we'll have the former First Minister and a number of other guests as well. It's going to be an absolutely incredible evening, so thank you for allowing me the chance to mention it. But I will also go back to the idea of the Famous Five, and it's not a further football analogy. On the night, I should say, we will have a special auction. Now, mention's been made already of Jean Freeman, who is an absolutely devastating loss to the independence movement. But Jean, I remember going to the Beatson with Christina for one of these endless consultant meetings during her cancer treatment, and sitting there feeling fairly sombre, but who burrows round the corner with a tea trolley and biscuits but Jean Freeman, the recently retired Health Secretary. And that tells you all you need to know about Jean Freeman. So Jean Freeman is one, talking about the Famous Five. I think the second one is, for the ball, the auction will include a necklace which used to belong to Margaret MacDonald. She liked her bling, as the various people I'm going to mention shortly liked her bling. But that was given to Jean Freeman, and Jean's partner, Susan Stewart, has donated it to the ball for an auction prize, which will help to raise money both for breast cancer now and for the Maggie Centre. So you've got something with real provenance, from Margaret MacDonald to Jean Freeman, and on to whoever is the lucky bidder for that as well. In addition, we will have, we've heard today, I should say, from Christine Graham. I mentioned Christine because although she mentioned it herself, it shouldn't be down to her to mention the fact that she has served the people of Scotland in its Parliament for 27 years. And during that time, she has won almost every year the title of the blingiest person in the Parliament. She used to have competitions with Christina for who had the biggest, most spectacular brooch. So I think Christine Graham should make it into that Famous Five as well. The fourth person, who I think we should also mention, who will not be standing again, who is not speaking at this conference, is Nicola Sturgeon. We've all known Nicola for so many years and all that she's achieved in the party, but even if you know nothing else about her, to think back to those days of COVID when she had to face, either alone or with Jean Freeman, the questions, if I can call them that, from the media every single day in a really, really challenging environment, and all the other things that she's had to endure. So we owe a fantastic debt, and we owe at least in large part, the position that we are now in, as I've mentioned, in terms of the polls, in terms of this campaign, to the fantastic work of Nicola Sturgeon over many years. So thank you, Nicola. And the last person in that famous five is Christina herself. I think if you were to look, the Hibs famous five was famous for being the most fearsome forward line in football. But if you think about those five women, Nicola Sturgeon, Jean Freeman, Margaret MacDonald, Christina McKelvey and Christine Graham, imagine having to face those five. If you're on the wrong side of the argument. We have been, and I know I'm being invidious, there are many other women that we could have in that, but those five people, I think, deserve our thanks for all they've done for the independence movement. And so to the election campaign. It's now only a few weeks ago when we saw Anis Sarwar desperately scrambling to hide the disappointing, shambolic and downright spineless Labour government in London. We all saw him trying to distance himself. We knew it wasn't possible. He describes Keir Starmer as his best friend beforehand and was the best thing that could happen to the UK. I don't remember him saying any of this stuff when he went into the 2024 election. But you saw him trying to distance himself. And even just as on a personal human basis, if he's your best friend, why are you stabbing him in the back on TV? I mean, I thought that was just appalling. But he is also telling the people of Scotland that his #1 priority is Scotland. And many times there he say, my country, Scotland. We know your country, Scotland. Why do you have to say that? We wouldn't have to say that. I'll tell you, Conference, if he wants, though, to pick a fight on who stands up for Scotland, and that is a battle that we will win every single day of the week. So bring it on. And if anyone thinks that Westminster at least thinks that we'll quietly accept the broken promises and their failing politics, then they've got another thing coming, because, Conference, only the SNP will stand up for Scotland, because only the SNP and its government stands up for Scotland. And let's be clear, at a time when far-right politics is rising and other political parties are jumping in with far-right policies right into the mainstream of UK politics, Scotland needs a party that will stand firm on the values that we hold. And I would much rather go with the description of Scotland that William McIlvanney developed as a mongrel nation than I would of Keir Starmer's land of strangers. Scotland is a welcoming country, and we should never forget that. We are a country that believes in compassion, fairness, internationalism and respect for one another. And the SNP is the only major political party prepared to stand up to the politics of division and fear, and the only party that truly represents the kind of Scotland we know that our country can be. Now, we will very shortly hear from the person that proposed, if you remember back at conference previously, the 65 majority strategy. Now, I remember as a co-signatory to that, we had real scepticism amongst people in the party as well as to whether that was possible. And I mention that because, and we still have to achieve that, he did that at a time when that was far from guaranteed. And that's what real leadership is about. If you want to achieve independence, you're going to have to show ambition. And we are very lucky to have a leader that showed leadership and that ambition. And, Conference, given that, it's my privilege to introduce the leader of the SNP, Scotland's current and future First Minister, my very good friend, John Swinney, MSP, First Minister of Scotland.
Friends, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Friends, thank you for such a lovely welcome. It's hard to believe 18 months have passed since we last gathered in this very hall. And since then, we've made a lot of progress as a party. But as you heard from Stephen Flynn this morning, I'm only just getting started. We're on the eve of a crucial election. I've been out campaigning with you all over Scotland, and here's what I know and what I've seen. We are ready. Ready. We are ready to fight the election, ready to fight for Scotland, and ready to win our country's independence. The progress we've made is because we've put Scotland and the people's priorities first. That starts with our National Health Service, and my plan is working. We've halved NHS waiting times for new outpatients. GP numbers are up. The number of operations is rising, and with thousands more hip and knee operations. Long waits are down for 8 months in a row, and from Stranraer to Shetland, just like I promised you, we are opening new walk-in GP clinics. Conference, that is the SNP delivering for our most precious public service. That's the SNP delivering for the National Health Service in Scotland. And it means acting on the cost of living, which is hurting people every day. It feels like prices just keep going up. That's why we are taking the action wherever we can. That's why we've ended peak fares on our railways and frozen ticket prices. That's why bus travel is free for the youngest and oldest passengers. No tuition fees, free prescriptions, free childcare worth more than £6,000 per year. The People's Priorities Conference, always the priorities of the Scottish National Party. That's why we've got the lowest child poverty rates in the UK. Unemployment is far below the UK level and economic growth is higher. Near record levels of young people going into work, training or education. Transformational land reform and business investment at a 20-year high. Conference, this is what SNP government delivers. More help with the cost of living than anywhere else in the UK, a stronger NHS, a better Scotland. That is what you get when you vote SNP in every election. We've always been an outward-looking country. It's part of who we are. That's what the Westminster parties misunderstand when they say Scotland has no right to speak out on international events. That defending human rights and international law is somehow someone else's business. That Scotland should stay silent. Conference, let me be clear. That is not who we are. We will not stay silent while the world burns. We will raise our voices. We will call out for peace. Peace in Iran, in Gaza, in Ukraine. We will speak out against injustice and speak up for those who cannot. And with the SNP, Scotland's voice will never, ever be silenced. In an increasingly unstable world, we have to make sure our country is safe. But that is not achieved by wasting hundreds of billions of pounds on weapons of mass destruction, all whilst the UK's conventional forces are left exposed, while Westminster politicians prioritise the status symbol of Trident over our security. But the SNP is unequivocal. Scotland is unequivocal. We will never compromise on this. Weapons of mass destruction have no place in the world, and Trident nuclear weapons have no place in Scotland. Right now, once again, The world is watching as war rages in the Middle East. We all know the Iranian regime is brutal and illegitimate. It has brought untold suffering on its own citizens and on people across the region. But that does not justify what we are seeing on our television screens every night. Tehran in flames, whole streets on fire, schools bombed, thousands killed. The Iranian regime have terrorised their own population. Now those self-same civilians are dying at the hands of American and Israeli bombs. So let me be clear. The unjustifiable actions of the United States and Israel have no basis under international law. They must stop. For the sake of innocent children in Iran, for the sake of peace, our call is for diplomacy, for de-escalation and for an end to this war. Conference, we will always speak up for the protection of innocent civilians and international law. But if we were an independent country, we could do so much more. We will demonstrate, not just with words, but with actions, how Scotland can be a voice for peace. We will use the powers of independence to enshrine into our constitution a legally binding ban on nuclear weapons on our soil and in our seas. And Conference, we will go further. With independence, we will ban any foreign military power engaged in illegal conflicts from our shores. Two statements will be written directly into the very foundational document of our new nation. Not in our name, not in our country. The international upheaval we are seeing threatens to destabilise economies around the world, including our own. If things were not tough enough already, this reckless war will make the cost of living crisis even worse. Fuel prices, food prices, electricity, people's lives, livelihoods and plans for the future have been thrown into chaos. All across Scotland, the message is the same. Many people struggling to put food on the table or scared to put the heating on. Parents worried their kids will never be able to afford the life they enjoyed. And people who've worked their whole lives finding that their pension just isn't enough. No wonder they feel angry. No wonder they feel trapped. Quite simply, Westminster is broken. It doesn't generate enough economic growth. It doesn't generate enough money for our public services. And it looks the other way as the super rich get even richer. Westminster hasn't worked for Scotland. Westminster doesn't work for Scotland. Westminster will never, ever work for Scotland. The Westminster parties want you to believe that this is as good as it gets. Well, the SNP will never accept that, because we know a much brighter future for Scotland is ours to build. To glimpse that future, we only have to lift our heads and look to our independent neighbours. All around us right now, there are countries just like Scotland showing us the way. Stronger economic growth, higher living standards, less inequality, higher pensions, less poverty, more money for public services. Friends, that is the standard to which Scotland should aspire. We more than have what it takes to match those nations. Our people are every bit as talented, and we've got natural resources that most could only dream of. But we will never get there as part of a Britain broken by Brexit. We know there is a better way forward. The fresh start that Scotland needs is within our grasp, because at this election we're not just in it to win government, we're in it to win independence for Scotland. Because, delegates, our goal is nothing less than transforming Scotland into the country we know in our hearts that Scotland can be. And it starts with our very youngest. The SNP in government has transformed childcare. When we first took office, the position we inherited from Labour was pitiful. Step by step, we increased support for families. Every step forward changed lives. But we're not going to stop there. Because I've heard the calls from parents across the country who need more support, who are struggling to juggle work and childcare. They make the point that the working day doesn't stop at 3 p.m. And they're right, we have to go further. It's time to take a giant leap forward and finish the job on childcare that we started. That's why I can announce today that a re-elected SNP government will extend childcare for every child in our country from 9 months old to the end of primary school and available and available 52 weeks a year. More transformational change delivered by the SNP, your SNP government working for Scotland, the SNP working for the people we always serve. Delegates, this will be backed by over £500 million of new investment. We'll deliver a brand new childcare system that fits around families, rather than expecting families to fit around the system. And because parents' work doesn't stop during the summer holidays, neither will the provision of childcare. Our new approach will mean families benefit from between £1,400 up to over £11,000, dependent on need. Every single family in Scotland will get help. Delegates, no one gets left behind by the SNP. When I returned to government, I could see that Scotland was at a fork in the road. I've worked to bring our country together, to invest in our children, in our future, to offer hope. But we know that others are urging another path. Politicians who want to peddle fear of other people, who seek to divide rather than unite, who tell you what they are all against, but not what they are for. But our party, Scotland's party, is different. I'm proud to lead a party which is guided at all times by our values. So no matter where you come from, no matter your identity, your sexuality, your faith, the message from this party is that what we want every person in Scotland is to thrive. We believe in fairness and equality, in the fundamental dignity of every person who chooses to live here. So let us reaffirm today's conference that this party will always stand with everyone who chooses to make Scotland their home, and that we will always take on and defeat those who peddle bigotry and division in our country. 2 weeks ago, we said goodbye to a woman who believed in that fundamental dignity to her core, one of the finest servants of Scotland I have ever known, the remarkable Jean Freeman. In a long and distinguished career, Jean devoted herself to the service of others, whether she was inspiring women to get involved in Scotland's referendum, working with offenders to change their lives, or building our new social security agency from scratch, or leading our NHS through the pandemic, or as Keith has just shared with you, volunteering at the Beatson Clinic with her tea trolley. Jean never accepted second best, and she was fearless in standing up for what she believed in. But she didn't just believe in a better Scotland, she helped to build a better Scotland. Her legacy is an inspiration to us all. So let's resolve today to build on Jean's legacy, to run towards the big challenges rather than away from them, and not just to believe in a better Scotland, but to work together very hard every day to build a better Scotland. Every day I'm determined to be a First Minister that delivers for our people. And when we last met in Aberdeen in October, I promised I would step in and fix the mess that Westminster had made for international social care workers. I said that we would sponsor skilled staff to come to Scotland and start work immediately. In conference, I have delivered that. Scotland will have 30,000 extra care hours every month through our Displaced Workers Scheme. That is 30,000 extra hours of care for the people we love. 30,000 extra hours because of a vision based on dignity rather than ignorance and prejudice. That is the SNP delivering for Scotland. Five months ago, I promised that I would deliver 15 new walk-in GP clinics. Now, walk-in GP clinics are appearing on high streets across the country, open 7 days a week. I've heard directly from people who tell me how these clinics fit around their daily routines and bypass the ATM rush. I've heard from doctors about how they're freeing up more time for family GPs. And I've heard the calls of local campaigners for sites to be located in their communities. So today, I can announce that we will go further. If re-elected, the SNP will deliver 30 GP walk-in clinics across the country. We will double our original pledge. Reaching more villages, towns and communities the length and breadth of Scotland. In Angus, Livingston, Paisley, Inverness, Glasgow, Falkirk, Ayrshire, Edinburgh, Lanarkshire, East Kilbride, the Tweed Valley, East Renfrewshire and Dumbarton. That's the SNP delivering for Scotland. I will always be a First Minister that delivers for all of Scotland. And this week, I made a promise to the great city of Glasgow that the SNP would stand shoulder to shoulder with the city as it rebuilds from the fire that shocked us all last weekend. I said on Tuesday that given the significant cost for the city, we would back those words with cash. We've worked closely with Glasgow and with the council leader Susan Aitken, and today I can announce the first steps. The remaining facade of Union Corner sadly has to come down for the safety of the public. That will cost at least £1 million. That is £1 million that should not come from the public services that Glaswegians rely upon. This SNP government will therefore underwrite the cost of clearing the site, meaning that not a single penny of the city's public services budget will be lost on this task. And we will do more. Some businesses have been utterly devastated. Others in the area are suffering real hardship. Today I can announce a £10 million recovery fund to support the council, businesses and agencies to help rebuild and renew that vital part of the city. And let me be clear today, we will stand by our biggest city in its hour of need. The SNP will do everything in our power to make Glasgow flourish again. I was struck by the sense of community that emerged in the hours after the fire. The city rallied around the businesses and the livelihoods which had been lost, and around the emergency services, the firefighters, who risked their lives to ensure people's safety. When times are tough, Scotland pulls together to look after one another. We care for each other, for our neighbours, our colleagues, our friends. That really matters. Just look at the decisions Scotland has taken since our Parliament was established and how we've stood together as a consequence. We've used every little bit of our self-government to support people through their lives. For children in poverty, a Scottish Child Payment. For young people, no tuition fees. For first-time buyers, help with your deposit. To those facing ill health, free prescriptions. And later in life, free personal and nursing care. From the beginning of our lives to the very end, self-government is making lives better, and SNP government is making people's lives better as well. Just look at the public institutions that we have created. A nationally owned railway with no peak fares. A social security agency based on dignity and respect. A national investment bank unlocking transformational long-term projects. And if the SNP win the election, a new public housing agency to ensure that every man, woman and child in Scotland has access to affordable, good quality housing. These are not just the symbols of self-government, making people's lives better in the here and now. Friends, these are the building blocks of our new independent nation, and you can be sure we are not going to stop there. Central to a decent society is making sure everyone has a good home. And I've heard from so many young people who don't believe that owning their own home will ever be a reality for them. Many of them are paying more on rent than they would on a mortgage, but they just cannot find a way to build up the deposit they need. With bills seeming to just go up and up, there just isn't enough left at the end of the month to save up. It's a trap, leaving them locked out of home ownership, often well into their 30s. But the SNP government will step up. Conference, if re-elected, we will provide up to £10,000 towards a deposit to give people the help they need to buy their first home. A generation let down by Westminster will be helped up by the Scottish National Party government. When you look at the great steps forward we have taken, you can see that they are the foundations of an independent nation-state. And none of them would have happened had Scotland not voted for our own Parliament. That is the difference self-government makes. But the great prize of becoming independent is that it allows us to complete that journey, to consign an increasingly out-of-touch Westminster to history and replace it with something new, something which will be shaped by the people who care about Scotland the most, the people who live here. Independence gives us the opportunity to entrench the things that matter to us. We will ensure that access to our National Health Service remains free at the point of need as a fundamental right. While others flirt with privatisation, Conference, let our party be clear. Scotland's NHS is not for sale at any price. Our health service will never, ever be privatised. With independence, we will build the kind of economy that we want, with workers' rights and equal pay enshrined within that, tailored not to the needs of the wealthiest, but instead to the unique strengths and talent of our people. With independence, Scotland will benefit from our own vast energy wealth, choosing instead to put that wealth into the hands of the people, bringing down bills, delivering a just transition. Westminster cannot be allowed to squander our renewable energy wealth. So let us resolve today that Scotland's energy should be in Scotland's hands, and the days of Scotland's energy flowing to line the pockets of billionaires and the Treasury in London must be over, and over for good. Yeah. With independence, we will have a seat at the top table of Europe once more, choosing not the isolation and economic damage of Brexit, but instead giving our businesses the opportunity of trading freely inside the world's largest single market, giving our people the freedom to live, work and move all over the continent, and putting democracy, human rights and fairness at the heart of everything we do. Let us reject the isolationism of broken Brexit Britain once and for all, and take our place as Europe's newest independent member state. An independent Scotland will be made in its own image, and the power of the Scottish state will be derived from the people in all their diversity. That, for me, is the essence of what independence is all about, where a man's a man for all that is not just a song that we sing on special occasions, but a value that we live and breathe by every single day. This is not all around us. It is the daily reality. And have no doubt, delegates, it will soon. We are closer to becoming independent than we have ever touched it. Support for our cause has never been at such sustained high levels. And it's not just in Scotland where Westminster controls the way. In May, for the first time ever, we could see First Ministers in Scotland, in Wales and in Northern Ireland elected who are all committed to independence from the UK. That would be an absolutely seismic moment. For people watching around the world, there can be no clearer sign that Westminster's time is up. Each nation of the UK, of course, has its own history and its own future to determine. But what we have in common is the desire for a new and truly equal partnership with people living across these islands, the ability to form new partnerships and rekindle old ones with those beyond our shores. Friends, Scotland can lead this great wave of change. The opportunity before us is enormous, but we need to reach out and grab it. In 2011, people in Scotland secured a path to independence by returning an SNP majority. On the 7th of May, we need to do the same again and show Westminster, once and for all, that it is Scotland's people that will determine Scotland's future. Friends, our message in this election is simple. Your first SNP vote elects an SNP government. Use it to vote for a better NHS, for GP walk-in clinics, for help with the cost of living, for the first-time buyer's deposit, and a massive increase in childcare that leaves no one behind. And your second SNP vote delivers independence. It secures a majority that will lay the path to a referendum that we will win. That's the Scotland I want to live in. That's the Scotland I want to build as First Minister. On the 7th of May, make it both votes SNP, and let's build Scotland's future together. Thank you very much.